Hello,
Yes.
Siddharth. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Saurabh. Great to be here. Hi, Vivek.
Hello, sir. Thanks for joining today.
Yeah, thanks for joining. So let's start our conversation from there, like what's trending in the marketing, the AI thing. So I would love to know your thoughts on the AI that is in the marketing and how you see the marketing is changing because of the AI thing. And is it really at that level, which is we see on the social media or LinkedIn primarily? Is it actually impacting at that level on ground level? Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, in my opinion, AI, right? Sort of like it goes back to that famous meme, right? Where I said, I wish AI would do my laundry and cooking and taking care of household chores so I can do what I'm interested in, like painting else. But AI has done the different part, right? AI has taken over painting, copywriting, and I'm left with doing the ironing and doing everything. So I've seen a bunch of people have said that you get this on LinkedIn a lot of time. Click here, comment blueprint, comment AI agent,
Yes, yes,
comment
yes.
10-minute lead, comment whatever. I don't know, so many comment
So
to
have
get
you
my blueprint.
also be commenting on them? Like, have you tried that?
I always do the opposite comment. Yes, I managed to like I mean we are on air, but I managed to piss off the original poster. So if somebody says blueprint, I actually like black label. I comment on this type of thing. Because in my opinion, right, like automation is good, right? And I've seen with thanks to AI, a lot of automation is possible. But every business cannot have the cookie cutter approach. Every business has to have, like, okay, suppose you were sort of like, for example, I want to enrich profiles, right? But dig a level deeper, somebody will say, okay, listen, I want to enrich profiles that only match, uh, which have like India, Australia, Middle East in them, or enrich profiles who have only 8 years of experience. Somebody will say, okay, listen, only enrich profiles if they have worked previously at a finance company, right? So when you dig one level deeper or two levels deeper, you'll find out there are a bunch of guardrails that are very unique to each business. Now, if you were to take an automation and sort of put it on top of that, right, as a cookie cutter, you are not going to, achieve anything. AI automation, in my opinion, is sort of like, AI has obviously taken over the marketing world by storm, but to implement it successfully, there's a long, long way to go.
So, as per your opinion, we are far away from what we see on the LinkedIn, and AI is not actually there. It will take a lot of time to implement. Actually, some coming up with some good use cases.
Yeah, I mean, good use cases have come. I don't think so. There are autonomous, like autonomy can be given to, or you are agents or AI which have complete autonomy, right? Like an AI won't be able to think like a CMO for a particular brand at the stage they are in, very quickly. So you'll have to feed in a lot of data. You'll have to feed in a lot of, and it has to take a lot of time and everything.
Okay, got it.
Yes, I guess even for those who are putting
Okay,
posts like
so
comment playbook and you
yeah,
will get 40 leads in 10 minutes. And they I have very rarely seen somebody write in, yes, I also got it. And I also sometimes, so there was a post where there was a screenshot and he had a screenshot of meetings he has booked. I zoomed in into the screenshot. The meetings were actually 10-minute slots. So I was asking, how did you end up converting this good revenue in just 10 minutes? The slots are just 10 minutes. We have so many meetings. Between 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., he's doing 10 meetings. How? And there was no reply, obviously. There were likes of few people, maybe like me. But yeah,
I think
the rest people were just
majorly
commenting.
that's I think most of the time it's just a gimmick to get a good kind of engagement on the LinkedIn post. That's what I have seen. A lot of times I have also seen this thing and I've also commented a lot of things, but rarely I have got replies and rarely I have seen it, and maybe a very less number of times I've seen it. It actually helps something.
So tell me, Siddharth sir, like, would you hire such a person? You see his post, it's really good engagement, right? He's getting good. So would you hire that person in your team for LinkedIn content, yeah, LinkedIn social media?
I will hire him as a consultant. I will hire him in my team. I'll tell him you write and you get engagement for my brand. But the thing is, again, end of the day, all these, I mean, right? Okay, let me take an analogy, right? Go back 8 to 10 years or go back like not even eight, I think 6, 7 years back, right? You will get posts saying that I did this hack on SEO. to achieve 10,000 visitors in 10 days. Now, you guys also know, and I also know that's not going to
That's a
happen.
pure gimmick. Yeah.
It's a pure gimmick. Now, that same thing is now playing it out with AI, right? People are just building their brand using that AI, right? So from a, from perspective, I have to give it to these people because they figured out the hack in the algorithm. But would I want to know such a strategy? Would I want to implement such a strategy for my brand? I wouldn't want to. Because at the end of the day, most of these people have just gone up and then crashed down. Right? You don't hear about their brand name. You don't hear about what they've done. Most of them.
Correct.
Right? So I don't want to build brands on trend or brands on hacks or brands. It's okay. It's okay to not build a brand. Trying to build a brand based on it.
So, sir, Vivek and I both are a part of the community S11S that you have built, and it helped us a lot to learn as a marketer, to get some clients from there as well. I would love to understand from you, like, if someone is listening to this, like, if I want to build a community like S11S, or maybe for my brand or something else, how could I approach that particular thing? Like, do you have a framework? How did you build S11 as such an active and such a successful community?
Okay, I keep bringing this to everyone, and very few people believe me. We did not have a strategy to engage people, or we did not have a strategy to think like, okay, this is how we should design experiment. The only thing that we had was very clearly that, listen, we would want people who are marketers helping others. Our core strategy was that there should be a place where people can help each other out. They should be able to help one another. At the same time, people should be everyone should be able to approach people who they see on LinkedIn, who they see, understand, okay, this person has done some work previously, right? So they could find that person and approach them, right? That's all. We didn't do anything else. We didn't think through about, okay, listen, we have to create these many channels, or hey, we will receive these messages, or hey, we will do this. And all four of us, Chirayu, Rohit, Shafiq, and I, all four of us decided, okay, listen, we'll do what we all feel are right. So basically, someone created the anonymous channel, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. When
I created the
things is
fun channel,
started, yeah,
right? I mean, and we also, the core principle that we had was that we believe that everyone in the community is an adult, right? And they would understand what it means to be a part of a community. They would treat it as a home and not basically create a nuisance in the group, right? So
but
yeah,
let's say I have a SaaS brand, and for my particular target audience, I want to build such a community, because for any particular marketing channel, if I consider communities are a great marketing channel for me, and it could be a great to have, the brand loyalty perspective also. It is a great to have a community of your target audience or the people where you can help. So if I want to build such a community, how should I approach this?
brand building a community is very tough. You would have seen Clay has built a good community recently. That's only
Right.
because Clay and other tools are sort of like Lego blocks, right? You can use it to make whatever you want. You can make a very fancy automation. You can make a very simple automation. So if you are a building block and people are helping each other out, it has organically formed, and then Clay has sort of given it support there, right? If you go out and on yourself as a SaaS brand, say you're a market brand, you want to go out and build a community of market enthusiasts, right? Won't happen. The reason being because as a brand, you will obviously have a particular goal for building the community. And that goal has to align with your business. It cannot be to an altruistic side. It cannot be, okay, listen, I want to do good for everyone. I want to do this, right? So it'll be very difficult for you to build a brand as a SaaS company, as a community. What
Yeah.
you should do more and more closed door events. You should do more closed door meetings, all gatherings, the hours, wine and dine, whatever. Let people get to know your brand. And then organically, if you feel during the conversation or during these meetings,
Hmm.
there is a need for people to connect to one another, etc. Because, for example, like say if I'm a young SaaS brand, right? I'm targeting, like say SDR. I'm building an SDR tech. Now, if I tell all the SDRs, hey, join my Slack channel or join my Slack community, uh, and I just keep posting messages like saying that, hey, did you know we have taken out this feature? Or hey, did you know this? No engagement on it. They'll be like, okay, listen, good for you, bye. because everybody joins the community to either learn or to share what they have learned. Nobody goes to a community to get pitched or to get bought.
Right. So absolutely. So what you're telling us is that it's very hard to build for a brand to build a community which is particularly online, but it could be a mix of you do the in-person events and then later on you can leverage that particular thing to build the online community.
Yeah, I mean,
It is far
think,
better
think,
strategy.
yeah, think about it like this, right? Say if you are an owner of a SaaS company,
Right.
you have only limited areas where you can double down, right? You cannot, you don't have infinite for that. Now, if I were to tell you start a community, you would definitely then basically on a blackboard or on an Excel sheet, you will label down what you want to achieve from community. You will say, okay, 400 members, 800 members. At the very least, you will say, okay, how many daily active users, how many monthly active users, right?
Right.
What is the frequency of engagement? What is how many messages, right? And these are all the wrong metrics in a community to, to, in my opinion, to enhance for. What you should enhance for is are people talking to, and people
Absolutely.
can talk in S1 and S, I don't think so. Shafiq, I and Rohit ever now chat or even see messages unless we feel very necessary, right? So we just let people talk to one another, people talk, people chat, people share compliments, people update, whatever. And people moderate. Self moderation, community moderation, very rarely, very, limited by who created the community.
Right.
So
Got it.
you talked about that like 7 8 years earlier years also people were whoever got a hack of maybe black hat SEO something they just dropped their post like that. But you were working I guess at that time on Verloop and you were able to grow Verloop by 3x during your venue. So at that time what worked for you and when you say 3x so when did you start it? I mean like was it you the first marketer or starting on that part or you joined after?
So I was lucky at Verloop, the fact that I was not the first marketer. There was a bunch of marketers there. There was Disha, there was Rakshna was already there. There was another guy called Sai who I still think is one of the best generalist marketer today. Yeah, I think we had a bunch of marketers already present. And they were already, there was a sort of a marketing motion in play.
Correct.
The other part I was lucky was that at Verloop, the CEO understood marketing. So Gaurav understood marketing at a very basic level. Right? At the very core of it, he understood, okay, listen, marketing will not give him results today. He will not sit in the room and say, okay, since you've launched a campaign, where's my right time? He knew that, okay, I have to give at least 2 quarters for marketing to start making that thing. So he gave me 2 quarters in the beginning of the, after my tenure to tell me, okay, listen, go for it.
Right,
So
right.
what are the things that you have done over there? What
Oh, I
what
have, we failed a lot at World Loop. We were lucky enough that we failed a lot. The other thing was I came from, at that time I had come from Clevertap. And
Yes.
Clevertap had grown from the Anand Jain was a very, very big believer in whatever you do, try to do it fully, no matter how big the company is. So I started at Clevertap when Clevertap was doing around 4 million. I left when it was doing around close to 30 million. And even at 30 million, the same sort of, guardrails were there, what were there at 4 million. So I carried over that thinking to Goldie, right? Like, we have to do everything frugally. So we used to figure out, okay, listen, there are 10 things to do. Okay, obviously we cannot do 10 things. What are the 5 things we are ready to bet on? World also lucky in the fact that we got, like I said, right, there were already marketers before. So they had a very different perspective that I had. And that helped me sort of build only channel campaigns. Right? We didn't do only one. So we didn't only focus on online, like only just going on LinkedIn or Google or something. We focused on making sure that we were there at events, right? We were doing closed door conferences, right? And the other thing that was really good that my entire sales team, right? Uh, I can tell you the names also, Puchirine, Tualen, Urvashi, all these folks, right? They were ready to help us in any way possible. So they would give us feedback on a daily basis, right? And no feedback like arrogant feedback saying that no, you guys all leads up. They would tell me, okay, listen, these links were bad because this person came like this person. And it was just a 15-minute catch up on a daily basis.
right?
15 minutes. Like, listen, hey, leads, how is it quality? What are you feeling? Right? When the team grew and we had an HDR person in the team, right? Same thing. Listen, how are the
Okay.
leads? Can you send the conversations? We used to listen to those conversations. One of the things, I think it was because everyone was working from home, so there was a lot more time available at hand, the entire marketing team used to listen to sales calls and HDR calls. So over a period of 2 to 3 tenure, 2 to 3 quarters, the marketing team got a very good gist of the ICP and saying that, okay,
Right.
listen, this is how you have to, this is how they talk, this is how they think, this is how they speak. So we even started writing the blogs also, the content that you took out started coming in those languages.
Okay. And what are the channels that work the best in all the things that you have mentioned?
So our LinkedIn used to work the best when I started. It went to Google search, and then we saw events doing a larger part of it.
So when you say LinkedIn, it is particularly from the brand's page or from the founders or the employees' LinkedIn pages
So I mean, paid campaigns.
or paid campaign. Okay, got it.
I think that was that COVID time also. That also the inventory became cheaper for a certain amount of time. So that sort of gave us a lot of ROI. So that's why I said LinkedIn in the beginning, and then it took, and then basically Google.
And when you said that you have also had a lot of failed campaigns and you have failed at a lot of things,
Yeah.
particularly, I would love to hear one or two your failed campaigns stories because it would
Oh yeah.
definitely boost a lot of confidence in the marketers who fails in their campaigns, and it's a very usual thing that we
Oh
come
no, I
across
think
every other
as a marketer, you have to fail multiple times. You cannot
right.
expect to be successful all the time. Even when you're even at the peak of your game, you will fail more than you win. It's just that the wins are more outsized, and how do you make sure your failures are little less downsized? So one of the campaigns we did at World that failed was on where we try to target IT, like chief IT officers, ITSOs, or everyone. And we sort of wanted to tell them, listen, we are better than our competitor. So we did a
Yeah.
competitive, we took out funny memes and we took out a lot of stuff and we did everything and no response. Nobody even bothered, right? We were so depressed that I think Sai in my team, he just went on to Canva, designed one really bad looking banner and he put it online. He's like, "Chalo, theek hai. Whatever happens, happens. We need to take out a campaign today. So we have to shut down the low performing campaigns and we have to take out a new performing campaign." And I think it was a Wednesday he did it. And during that time, uh, and he was like, okay, and I was very irritated that, I was just new into World Loop, right? So you feel bad when something like this happens, right?
Right.
So I was like, "Arey yaar, just like, how do I explain that I wasted $6,000 on a campaign and it's not going to get any close to around $100,000 in pipeline."
Wow.
And the campaign that we did with all publishing, with designer help, with all messaging, with the content team, with the design team, me looking into it, targeting correctly and everything, what a scene, right? So the market has a very good way of pulling you down to
Yeah.
you can do the best campaign and you will fail, and you can do the worst campaign. And they actually happened to us in that 2 weeks period, 2, 3 weeks period. Our best campaign just flopped, and the worst campaign that could have gone went, and I didn't even see it went, and then suddenly it started working. So next day, I think after a week, my salesperson said like, "Hey, listen, look at this, this is so off brand. How can you, this colors?" And I was like, "I don't care. Don't touch anything. It is working. Do not touch."
It's like the Virat Kohli's 2016 campaign versus now the year where he's winning trophies. Not
You
entirely
can
you have.
you can strive as hard as you want. If it's
Yes.
not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
Yes, absolutely. And in marketing, it always happens. You give your best, but it's very unpredictable. What's gonna work, what's not gonna work. A lot of times, the top of the folks who are very sure that this is gonna work, you can predict. A lot of times, it is very unpredictable things that happens. But
And
yeah,
you said you were lucky in Verloop having a founder who knows marketing, right?
Yes.
But let's say, first of all, today, after 7, 8 years, there are too many founders, right? And many of them are from tech backgrounds. They have never done any kind of marketing or being part of it. For them to not knowing marketing and they don't have budget to hire a huge good senior folk where they can really trust for a longer time, then these kind of experiments feel very scary for the junior marketers having 3 to 5 or 6 years of experience. They should be doing at that phase, would they be like all free to test it? Because look, they will have to prove ROI to founder and he will not understand the milestones or the steps or the process part. So how would you take it? Let's say if you are there and the founder is not really great on marketing?
Yeah, no, like I am now an agency owner, so I'm working with multiple founders, and I've
Right.
had my fair share of founders who don't. I mean, it's not their fault that they don't get marketing. It's just the fact that a marketer's mindset is very different from a technologist mindset. Uh, it is a marketer knows there is a spectrum of available options. CEO would always think in terms of zero and one. You can solve engineering problems by saying, can we get 5x output by by a
Yes.
2x input, right? But marketing doesn't work like that. Marketing is probably inverse, right? But to get 2x output, you might need 5x inputs. Also, the time difference, right? When as a tech, everything is within your control. Your code, it is the way you can harness the code, you can make it better, you can make it different. It is in your environment. Getting only 10-20% is in your control. The rest is all based on a lot of hypotheses and a lot of various external factors. You can suddenly launch a campaign and then suddenly you get to know, okay, India is at a war, right? Your campaigns obviously are not public, right? Same thing with, I mean, if you're in US, suddenly you're hit with US tariff. And then suddenly you cannot, I mean, you have negative sentiments against Indian brands. A lot of things are not on their control. So there is that mismatch, right? My advice to junior marketers is to be fearless. Like it's very easy for me to say that you be fearless because obviously it's a job, it's a job, and you are earning money. But figure out a way to communicate to your senior management or to your founder. And listen, marketing will gonna take time. You cannot expect Harry Potter, right? If you're expecting Harry Potter, then I am in the wrong job because I'm not Harry Potter. I mean, if that is the case, that somebody expects you to do every magic one day, but it's not going to happen. But at the same time, the marketer also has to give enough visibility to the founder to say, that, okay, listen, this is what's going to happen. Month one, month two, month three, month four, up till at least 3 quarters, month by month breakdown of what all is going to happen. Like, this is what we are going to do. Mm, This is the activity, and this is this is the best probable outcome. This is the worst possible outcome. So the founder also gets an idea saying, okay, this is the range that is available. So the founder also starts thinking in terms of a spectrum. And then you can educate the founder. You can have a word with the founder saying, like, what are the factors not in my control? I cannot control if LinkedIn raises its inventory cost. I cannot control if tomorrow AI overviews come up top on Google and push our sponsored post down. That I cannot
Yeah,
control. Those are all other platforms. What I can
correct.
control is basically looking at how can I set up better lectures where somebody comes into my pipeline. How can I make sure my brand is always there for the people when they are online, right? How can I make sure that I'm sending the right message to my ICP? How can I make sure that my message to ICP is right? Those are under my control. So I
Got
think
it.
that education bit is necessary, and making sure that the funder understand that is also necessary.
So you talked about the AI SEO thing, right? So that is also something that I would love to discuss. The AI mode has come in, and a lot of AI overviews are taking over. People are, especially the SaaS brands, are like HubSpot and the big giants have seen a massive decline in their, SEO traffic. So what are your thoughts? Like where SEO is going? Like, is it going to die, or this channel is going to evolve, or how do you see this SEO disruption that is happening right now because of the AI mode and AI overviews?
Yeah, I just think that it is going to be different yet be the same. Like, and I'll tell you why. At the time there was something called, I think all of us have implemented it. FAQ schema, structured snippets, right? Sort of started coming up. Zero click on Google search. I think Google is great. Google is doing what they want to do the best, right? Basically, they want to make sure that the person gets the answer without having to go deep into search, right? And that's
Right.
always been the aim of Google to satisfy user search very quickly, right? But that is only the informational search. That is something like, hey, where do I get cheese in? Where do I get the best cheese in Bangalore? Who are the best wholesale cheese suppliers? Uh, who can who can give me sort of like 100 kgs on a regular basis? Google won't give you that. So you can actually come to if you have done your work well, you will rank up on top, right? So again, this again comes back to your ICP understanding. talking what the person cares about. And the way it has changed, I think, is that now as a brand, you don't have to write those fluffy content to get traffic.
Right.
You don't have to write top level, like, for example, if you are a say SDR, this thing, SDR company, or if you're selling sales tech or selling tech, you don't need to write why Trump's tariff is going to harm SaaS brands just because you want traffic.
Right.
You're not going to. You're just going to write on your topic as much as possible. You're going to write it in words which are very meaningful. You're going to write it in words which appeal to the audience, and therefore you'll get that. And therefore people will build a trust. So I think what we're going to see more and more is that the right now there is a wave of AI content also, but more and more AI content will be created for your particular niche. Even the content that is being created by AI will be fed a lot of data in terms of sales calls, in terms of founder notes, in terms of everything. I think that will be there. And that will become sort of even the tonality would be very different than a different band writing on the same word. So I think that's what's going to happen.
So
So
with
yeah.
this AI mode and AI workways, one thing is for sure that like many marketers are also confused, and specifically those who have been investing hugely on SEO. So they are really scratching their heads also on after 2 years. Is it still be a relevant strategy? So in terms of like head of marketing or founder, would you or somebody start thinking that should I invest this money on SEO still, or should I think of some maybe direct channels like email marketing or building a newsletter or something different, which may be a direct connection with their ICP?
Yeah, I mean, I get all these talk about LLMs, and I know they will grow in the future. But as of now, only I think 1.1% or 1.2% of traffic, of search traffic, is on LLMs. And if you even funnel that down further, over that 1.7%, 90% of that is informational content. 10% of it is commercial. The traffic that founders are gunning for are commercial. No doubt AI search engines will, I mean, AI's LLMs will get better, the AI will get better, and basically surface more and more commercial. And there is no way for us to even ascertain that, right? As of today, like how good it will be. A lot of tools have come up in the certain criteria saying that, okay, listen, we can give you visibility into LLMs. Sort of take it with a pinch of salt. The reason being because I am messaging, say, I can tell you right. I mean, you and I, we are both sitting in India, right? If you write which is the best CRM available to a software, to a mid-sized company, and I write which is the best software, we'll get very different answers.
Yeah.
Because there is obviously context put there. There's some previous history data coming through to you, right? So, and until LLMs are ready to expose those data points to us, and tell us, okay, listen, this is how many times you're query, or this is the kind of keywords that trigger, or this is the process by which you figure it out. Everything else is sort of like foggy, right? So as a founder, as a head of marketing, why would I try to attempt or double down on a strategy which is foggy? I would rather attempt in creating more and more memorable experiences or crafting better experiences during my customer journey. So if I know my prospect well, right, and I understand that they are going online at 20 different places or 30 different places, I can then choose the 3, 4 most valuable places. Content will remain content, right? I will write content because I know people are going to read upon me. People need to read more. So I'll write, but now I have enough time to write better content because now I'm not worried about ranking. I'm not worried too much about ranking because anyways rankings will sort of like, when with AI mode and AI own use, ranking will send to top. So the only change I would make is now that, write better.
So you mean, so I think the conclusion is that marketers don't need to panic, and the AI thing is far away. How close it may seem, but it is not as closer as we feel. But and marketers don't need to panic and still needs to look
Yeah,
SEO as a
so
channel, because it's going to, it may going to change, but it's going to remain as a important channel for.
we could not predict this will happen in 2023. You could not predict that in 2025 people will be talking about LLM SEO, AI SEO, whatever
Yeah,
SEO. Now, if you couldn't predict then, how can you predict now what's going to happen in 2027?
absolutely.
And this is where basics of marketing help you, right? Because you're not looking at channel, you're not only looking very tactically down at channels. You're also looking strategically and saying, okay, listen, what is my customer doing? where can my customer find you, right? Where is my customer searching? If you have answered these questions well, then you have to just adapt. New technologies will come. This is a new medium, right? There used to be radio, TV, internet.
Right.
There's also internet, but on internet you had websites before, then you had search engines. Now you have LLMs. Another medium, another channel, right? So when you get more and more clarity on this channel, you will start building more and more strategies. But until you have, like right now, it's super foggy. Nobody knows what it takes to rank on it. Nobody.
Yeah.
If I do not know why am I ranking or why am I not ranking, then what are the action steps I can take? I can take no action steps. There is no
So
one, two,
true.
three step. Right. So I have to do what I can do best. And for everyone, I think when people say SEO is dead, that I sort of like feel very funny because I'm like, yeah, SEO was never dead. Since the time brands have started launching websites, SEO has already been there and it will always remain. You might not want to measure it in the way it was being measured, like how many traffic came to this page, how many people converted, which I felt was wrong earlier as well. That was the way it is. So now I think people will measure, okay, listen, how much of a brand lift have we got? After we've written like say 20, 30 blogs on a particular topic, we got more and more people coming in from this particular, which is people feel we are more aware of this. So you will start
Right.
seeing more and more, sort of like the 1990s, 2000 brand ad metrics start to infiltrate new age brands.
I think the core lesson is just to stick to the basics of the marketing and try to understand your customer as well as you can, and that's how you're going to survive. So, sir, I would love to ask, like, I have gone through your profile and I know that you were running an agency like with the name of Email Guru, I think, previously, and then you stopped working on it. And again, after 4, 5, 6 years, you are again running an agency. You started it. So I would love to know that story. Why have you stopped working at that particular time in that agency, and why you are running an agency again now?
It's
Yeah. So
actually
yeah,
like in terms of somebody with a marketing career and with good experience and opportunities also, I think it's far easier to do the jobs you are doing, maybe, I mean, not comparatively very easy. So still, again, you are back on it. So that's why just I and sort of also discuss sometimes how it works, how it works in the mentally like decision making process, and what pushes you to do this.
I like certain things I want to do it. Like, there's a bit of stubbornness when it comes to it. Like I'm a little bit stubborn also. So for example, like I wanted to really know how a VC works, right? So I applied for a VC job and I went for it. Right? I'm like, I don't care even if I'm doing marketing in VC. I just want to know what it is like to be in a VC. What does it take to take a deal? How does the team progress it? Why do some founders make it? Why do some founders don't get funding? And is funding necessary? Does everyone have to go through VC? What do the VCs think of what do VCs think of marketing? Yes, I mean, and that's what I was the reason I want to do it. I'll go work it. I'll go for it. I don't mind if if my career goes nowhere after it. I don't really know.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of stubbornness there. Same thing when I left Simply Learn. I was like, yeah, I mean, I understand automation. At that time, automation was not the automation that you meant, but more of, the simple run automation workflows, more API. But like, listen, I know API as well. I know automation well. I mean, I also understand backend very well. Why not help people? So I started my agency Email Guru. I was consulting for 4 to 5 hours a day. I was consulting with a Canadian company on product marketing. And I had like 6, 7 hours with me. Right. So I was like, why not start something like this? So we started something basically focused on email automation and email. Right. Uh Now beyond that, after working at that something, you also get to realize that when you want to, if you're looking, I had a family, so if I want to grow, I have to fully concentrate and give my best shot, right? Or I should take up a job which pays decently with it. So I looked at my options and we tried scaling in Upwork, but we couldn't. And that time Upwork was the only way I knew we could scale. So we tried scaling, but we couldn't scale. And so I decided to, even my partner and I, we decided to call it quits. He was also getting married. I had a kid, I had a kid. So we're like, okay, we can pick this up later in our life. So and I went and joined us, a full-time role at a company, right? Then working with Sequoia and, at, I was approaching 40, right? And I was like, yeah, matlab, how long will I do one particular, you know, helping one particular brand out, right? And that allure of having something of your own, that no matter how small it is like having a house, right? No matter even if it's a one BHK, it is my house, right? Saying, okay, this is my place. Remembering this is my company, right? This is the company I founded. It sort of gets to that, right? Uh, so I got it in my head that I want to start a company. I want to do something. Now there were two options open: a product or service, right? And I have a bit of Marwadi blood, so I do not understand running a company which has negative cash flow. It
Right.
doesn't strike me. It doesn't, like, I cannot live with that in my mental models don't live with that, where I have negative cash flow. So then I was like, okay, can I consult on one side and build a product? And then I realized I'm not so interested in building a product. See, I might just go and open up something in that also. I really if I get really interested, for example, if I get really interested in hosting and community, I might just open up a, Airbnb for communities, not for people, not for visitors, but for communities. Hold all your community sessions there. You can pay a certain set of money for all your members to come here, sit, relax, have coffee and go. Only community members allowed. If I get interested, I might even just do that as well. Like I said, I'm a bit of a stubborn person. If something sticks in my head, I will just go and do it. So
Yeah,
it's been
that's
a strength
interesting.
and a weak. Yeah, it's been a strength and a weakness. I've been stubborn to not see where I could, probably grow my career faster, or I can grow financially faster, or I can grow even in my skills faster. It's also served me well when I had to make difficult choices, and I made a choice and I stuck with it. Like a lot of people say, right? Being a founder is like holding a double-edged sword, right? You are both you are both the weapon and the danger to you.
Yeah, true. So true.
So yeah,
So, a very interesting approach. So you have worked with, at the top level of the marketers of as a marketer at the top level, and now you are running an marketing agency. Vivek and I have not got the taste of working with companies as a marketer or you. So we have been running our agency since we graduated out of the college. So it's always a very interesting conversation between us, like what kind of experience that it would be to work with some other company. You have a few dollars to burn and experiment. So that is always a conversation that we have. So I would love to understand, like, how, if you want to give us an experience, how this running an agency is different as a marketer compared to working with top brands as a head of marketing or something. How the life is different and how the experiences are different.
yeah. When you are working with a brand, it is like handling a 6-year-old kid, right? You are running all around. You're running after that kid, right? Running an agency is like running a crash. You have 3 years. You have multiple 3-year-olds running all around, right? You have to manage
Yeah.
each one, of them, right? Very small. But yeah, on a very serious note, in an agency, it's transactional, right? Okay, listen, this brand, this result, this budget, this quarter, right? And both you and I run agencies. We also know that an average tenure of a client is, like, say, probably 9 to 16 months.
Yeah.
So we know, okay, listen, there are 3 to 6 quarters within the brand, and this is what they want, this is what they need from us. It's a very clear cut scope, and even the vaguest of scopes have like a very finite boundary to it. Right? Say now, okay, this is what we will do, this is what we'll provide, this is what how we will do that. In a brand, there is no boundary. You have to create those boundaries. You have to imagine those boundaries, and you have to tell the founders what is possible, what is not possible. You have to tell your head of marketing, okay, this is possible in today's world, this is not possible, right? For your function. At an IC level also, you have to go and tell your manager, this is how we are going to tackle the quarter, this is how we are going to tackle the year, this is how we are going to tackle this one. So that's a bit of a big difference, big mindset change, because nobody's going to come to you and say, okay, listen, this is what you were hired for, this is what you're doing, and you might be hired, especially at a startup, right? I have not, except Infosys and to a certain extent Simplilan, I have not worked at enterprises. Simplilan also was a startup. So, and whatever I'm saying is with respect to startup and SMB. Don't mistake it for an enterprise motion. Enterprise
Yes.
motion is very different, right? So, at a startup, you are not expected to do what you have been hired for. That is your basic, right? sort of like you are an SEO specialist, so you need to do your SEO work. But can you also, can you also handle my content pieces? Can you also handle my conversion rate optimization? Can you also
Right.
tell how can you grow your own goal? Nobody's going to come and tell you, okay, this is what you can do. You have to grow your own goal, right? The company owes you nothing, right? You owe the company more than the company owes you, right? So you owe it to the company to give them more back, to give value so that they can help, so that they can see value in you and therefore help you, right? Big mindset change. So most of the, but some things remain the same. Uh, you should always have a higher personal agency. So basically, if you see something is wrong, call it out. If you see a problem, go solve for it. Look out for a solution, even though it's not a debate. For example, if I'm in Markov's, right? Say if I'm handling a Markov's client, right? Even a yellow client, and and I see their website and I see, okay, their page has multiple H1s, right? Now it's not under my camera. I don't, it's not under in my scope. But I basically go ahead and I tell them, okay, listen, you have multiple H1s. I'm correcting this. Do you want me to do an audit of your site? Right. So again, same thing will have to do in a brand as well. Right. If you feel some campaigns are off, you have to go and talk to the people. You have to say, okay, so we can be of help. So higher agencies always appreciated.
But where is more peace?
I mean, I don't think so. I've ever encountered like when initially, yes, I used to think, okay, there has to be a peaceful place. But I think with time and age, I think that, work needs to be peaceful, right? If work is not peaceful, then there's something wrong in the way you have picked up for other work that you're doing. So have a very hard look at yourself, have a very hard conversation with yourself. Listen, is this the work that I really feel enjoy doing? And by the way, when I say enjoy, it doesn't mean that you have put your legs chewing on popcorn, watching Netflix on one screen and then doing work. That is not what I mean. I mean that you actually get engrossed and challenged enough. So the definition of work also, I don't know how somehow I've taken a very drastic turn that, I need to be able to watch all series and still also like 10, 20 minutes in a whole day. And that's my work. That's not work. Work is when you're challenged enough to push yourself against boundaries, but you're not disappointed or there is not enough discouragement or, you're not discouraged just by the sheer volume of it or just by the nature of the bit. That, okay, this is irritating. You enjoy the challenge. For example, if you take, I mean, very recently, if you guys watch cricket, Mohammad Siraj, if you tell him to bowl, he'll happily bowl. Now, go tell him to play lawn tennis,
Yes.
right? And tell him somebody else is bowling, let them bowl, you play lawn tennis. He would be playing lawn, he would not learn more about it, either from people, either from the internet, either from offline world, whatever. But unless you are that, right? Unless you are focused on that, you will not find work challenging enough or deep impossible. So you will not be able to push yourself deeper. And the moment you stop pushing yourself deeper, you become like you yourself start to feel irritated at like, "Arey yaar, what am I doing?"
Interesting
Right,
perspective.
right. Yeah. So, by like before ending this discussion, one of the questions we have asked everybody, which is not a lot, you can say, same for everyone, but it's still very similar. And every marketer who has 5, 6 years of experience, I do still hope they would be hearing the answer for this. So, founder, you are given, let's say, a dummy kind of a startup. It is a AI based enabler, hiring enabler, which helps you do the ATS screening as well as help your junior HRs stay compliant with your brand guidelines. So the hiring, you can say AI for better hiring, basically. And then the founder has given you North America as your GTM, like the target market. Companies with, you can say, at least 200 employees, because only they would require AI in the hiring process. Then the budget is the problem, as much of the usual story, I guess. So they have given you can say $10,000 of a budget, but for only a quarter. So, how and what will you plan out of the money marketing channel for this geography, for this kind of a tool and audience? What you will target as a channel and try to prove ROI to the founder who has schemed this?
Okay, I mean, I'm assuming this is a SMB product because that's why they've given me $10,000. Because if it is an enterprise product and somebody gave me $10,000, I'll return those 10,000. I'll say you keep it for yourself. I mean, I'm sure it is based on CAC calculation and say, listen, I have to product this price at $8,000 or $6,000. I'll give you $10,000. Get me sort of like 2 customers at least so that we can sell it. You know, whatever type it is, whether it's a monthly budget or a quarterly budget, we are getting that. So the first thing I do, right, whenever I enter a new company or a work, I just don't want to spend a dollar. Right? I do not like spending a dollar unless there is a proven motion happening. If a proven motion is going, let it go ahead. Let it like just go as much as it's going. But I don't like to start new campaigns immediately. I take at least $2,000 to $3,000 and I do interviews. I give
Okay.
gift cards, I send gifts, I do whatever it takes to get into it, to get at least 20 or 30 such of my recipe into a call with me. Once they get into a call with me, I ask them multiple questions. And again, it's an interview like how as I'm just doing an interview with them, right? Trying to understand their world, trying to understand what their problem is. Why would they ever choose a tool for hiring? Because the founder or the team might feel, okay, listen, we are helping junior HRs hire better and faster. HR might come back and say, listen, we have so much of a tech stack today, it's very difficult for me to even maintain what's happening. And I do not want to handle tech. I want to focus on the candidate rather than focus on tech. So it might just come out from the meetings that, listen, people don't want to use a DIY tool. People want a full service solution, right? So can you then present a package? And I'll tell you a very simple example, right? We did this sort of exercise at Worlu, and we realized that a lot of people were looking for a very trimmed down, light down version of our WhatsApp chatbot, right? So we launched a startup pack, right? We just said, listen, if you are a startup and you have got like 3 million in sales and you are focused on getting a WhatsApp chatbot, you have 50% off on our subscription. Just 50% off.
Just
So you can imagine, right? I mean, this is my understanding. We figured out, okay, listen, what is that we need to package? Right? It's a very quick outcome. But a larger outcome is also your positioning, your messaging, how you're going to do it, right? So for the first 2, 3 days, I would do that. So what I was saying was for the first 2, 3 months, I would actually not spend money, right? I would do more of these interviews. I would look at our messaging positioning. I would look at strategy. I would try to figure out where are the, customer engagement points that I can target, right? As a marketer. After when I'm sort of like 4 to 6 weeks in this journey, right? I would have a good gauge of understanding of my customer, the positioning, the messaging, and the sort of customer engagement I need to build through it, right? Like where I can focus. Then I would start spending money, right? Because then I'm armed with the knowledge of the channel, I'm armed with the knowledge of the message, I'm armed with the knowledge of what do I need to, how do I make this more interesting for these people, right? And if I have a sort of like a higher budget, the first thing I would do is actually do a physical meeting. I would always do a physical meetup because once people are aware of your brand, right, it is much easier to scale digitally rather than scale digitally and then push brand. Because digital awareness or digital touch points have a very smaller impact than physical interactions. So you would actually see this happening a lot of times where brands who have developed a physical sort of like a branding exercise or have pushed their brand physically and in real life, their demand generation tactics and their digital marketing tactics actually give faster results and better results versus brands who have only been doing digital and online marketing but have no brand value as such.
Everything is changing a lot faster in the AI and marketing. So I would love to understand what do you do to stay, ahead or updated in this world? Like what are the resources that you are using as a marketer? Maybe YouTube channel, the tools, or whatever the sources that you're learning from.
Yeah, I go onto YouTube, a lot of recommendations from friends. Again, communities help here. A lot of people keep sharing. So I keep getting to know different communities. Then a lot of newsletters. I just keep, just like on LinkedIn and Twitter, just keep a trend of what's happening, who's talking, who's not talking. I get to understand, okay, this is the person and then basically some people share their videos, some people share their posters. And I take a sample of it. If I really understand it and I like it, well, I start to dig deeper and follow. So more structured process, more saying that, okay, I follow these 3 people and I look at these 3 people only for a bit. I basically look at sort of like what's happening, what's not happening, how can I make a better bet? And is this something which will help me to automate my work as of today? Or
Right.
can this help me grow as a marketer? And then I look at understanding it. For example, like N8N is something which I did not understand for quite some time. So I sat down one day, I think for 12 hours and I went through around 20 or 30 videos. Okay, I'm going to finish whatever I can. Now I understand the basics of analytics. Like if I want to set up an automation that can basically, if I want to build a small agent that can scroll through my email, put it in an Excel sheet and tell me or send me a Slack update saying that, listen, 5 of your emails are from your client customer, 4 are junk, won't even talk, and 3, these are the 5 ones you want to reply to them.
Right.
So
Still, if
something
you
like that,
have
I can build that out because I mean, if I get interested, like I said, there's a bit of stubbornness. You have to have that. To basically, I mean, in my opinion, for a person like me, unless you have that stubbornness, I don't think so. I can go deep into whatever.
right. Is there any marketing decisions? Is there any life decision as a marketer that you regret or that you think like that was not a decision that I should be taking? I should have taken.
I mean, more like
And
I
so
said, more failures than wins in my life, man. One of the earliest decisions which I ever took and which I regret and which I have learned from is to not focus on my customer, is to focus on my brand. As a marketer, your job is to focus on the customer. And that is where the brand actually gets built. So it was counterintuitive for me to understand that. Because I said, okay, listen, let me focus on my brand. This is what my brand did. This is my brand mistake. Focus on the customer, your brand will take care of itself.
Absolutely. I guess that's it, sir. That's it for giving us really good time. With these answers also, as I told you, like some of them were only you would have been able to answer, and definitely we know folks who would be hearing this up, saving it up for they want. Thanks for joining the call, sir.
Thanks for